nature. There's a message for tomorrow. Everything connects to you. Some say soon it will be over. You can see it in the weather. Out of tune with Mama Nature. What you do comes back to you. We're not alone. We're not alone. We're not alone. We're not alone.
Confucius, Sigmund Freud, and Farah Muhammad is an evolution of God. Searching for the truth is a threat. Seems the closer we get to the truth, state troopers or feds come out to silence you. My house in Malibu probably tapped, cause living next door to Demi Moore, plus I'm black, plus I want vengeance for the poor who's attacked daily. Patriot Act never scared me. Jake in the Taurus, Sticky in the Jarvis. Niggas I'm with got warrants. America's browning. 20 years from now, every town will be brown and Latin. An African looking Manhattan. I'ma tell you what I seen with my 3 eyes. Word to me, not a hoax back in 99. A spacecraft in the skyline. In LA in daytime, axe horse if I'm lying.
Every mother, every father, raise your sons and your daughters with respect and with honor. From the seed comes the fruit. It's an unbroken circle. All of life is universal, and we're all in the struggle. If I know one thing is true,
evidence remains in debate. Documents of our own Air Force base. Additional terrestrial information. Other planets with life population. My observation. Scientists study pictures of a flying disc. Right on Earth, anthropologists are finding shit. Visitors probably live with us. They can mimic us. It's sort of what we're seeing in the cinemas.
Take a look in the mirror and see the bigger picture. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. Nobody is an island. We are part of an environment. Only way we gon' survive is if we harmonize. We're not alone. We're not alone. We're not alone. We're not alone.
Reginald Lewis, the black billionaire before Oprah, Bob Johnson. How'd he disappear? Conspiracy theories, UFOs in the air. I seen it with my own 2 eyes, and I swear like Warren Buffett. Real money, I'm just trying to touch it. The diamond and crusted shit live illustrious, cause we was deprived of it, suffered. Now we pop to prove anything's possible. My pimp strut was invented when they whipped us. Now we diddy bop just to show you that our strength's up. Just when niggas about to see they cut, global warming about to burn us up. Niggas never really seen paper in this world. American blacks the teenager of this world. Give us 20 more years to grow up, already geniuses. What I mean is this: I used to worship a certain Queens police murderer till I read the words of Ivan Van Sertima. He inserted something in me that made me feel worthier. Now I spit revolution, I'm his hood interpreter.
Take a look in the mirror and see the bigger picture. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. Nobody is an island. We are part of an environment. Only way we gon' survive is if we harmonize.
Hey yo, I'm American born. Love America. Love my people. Love all mankind. All nationalities. You know? I think it's just been recent where everybody started to feel like there was an elite group that runs everything. And everybody else was sheep, ignorant, making all ethnicities, colors, and creeds niggas, blind to what's really going on. So I say take off the wool from your eyes. Out with the old America, in with the new. End all racism, all injustice, all oppression to poor people, any people, anywhere on this planet. Let's come together. A new day's rising.
Das ist das Thema des Abends. Den haben wir heute gehabt, vor allen Dingen hier in Sachsen-Anhalt, in Brandenburg, im Moment noch in Berlin, Potsdam, auch noch Leipzig ist dabei. Dieses Regengebiet, das wird langsam weiter nach Osten ziehen, teilweise wird Schnee draus. Hier im Süden, da ist es nur noch Schnee und dann haben wir noch etwas, was wir nicht als Regen oder Schnee identifizieren können. Hier im Westen diese Schlangenlinien, das haben wahrscheinlich am Nachmittag über der Nordsee ein paar Flugzeuge, Militärflugzeuge rausgebracht. Und in etwa 5 bis 6 Kilometer Höhe hat mit Wetter so nichts zu tun. Ja, wie geht's weiter? Nachts Frost zwischen -1 und -8 Grad.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
They caused such panic that President Truman was forced to speak about them publicly. In a few short years, UFOs had reached the highest office in the land.
Oh, yes, we discussed it at every conference that we had with the military. There's always things like that going on. Flying saucers, and we've had other things, you know, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, all right. Star Child, citizens of the universe, recording angels. We have returned to claim the pyramids. Partying on the mothership, I am the mothership connection. Getting down in 3D, light year grooving. Well, all right. You hear the noise, ain't nobody but me and the boys. Get down. Hit it, fellas. Child here. Put a glide in your stride and a dip in your hip and come on to the mothership. Loose booty, doing the bump. Hustle on over here. Your memory bank never got this far. Mothership connection. Home of the P-Funk, the bomb. Doing it in 3D. Let me put on my sunglasses here so I can see what I'm doing. You have overcome, for I am here. Swing low, time to move on. Light years and time ahead of our time. Free your mind and come fly with me. It's hip on the mothership. Grooving, starting.
Cherry, stop and let me ride. Slow down, sweet cherry, stop and let me ride. Swing down,
Doing it on the chocolate Milky Way. What's happening, CC?
swing down, sweet
Search of Aliens, a special American morning series, all next week, beginning Monday.
Captain Robert Salas, the United States Air Force, retired. Back in 1967, Bob was a missile launch officer at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. He says a UFO hovered over his nuclear missile site and disabled all the missiles. Captain Salas, Michael Shermer is saying that you're not corrupt or anything. You just didn't see what you saw.
Well, actually, I didn't even see a UFO. I was in a capsule 60 feet underground, and the UFO was reported by that topside guard, a bright red oval object hovering outside the front gate.
He told you? He
told me. He was very agitated, frightened when he told me this over the phone. Now, the reason I believe that what he told me was true is because they had no access to our missile system. They had no way to control it. And while this object was up there, my missiles shut down. And these Minuteman missiles are very reliable, as you might imagine. Nuclear weapons we're talking about here. The system,
they shut down.
They shut down. One after the other. I remember losing all of them. And not only that, but 10 more missiles were shut down under similar circumstances. UFOs were observed at another launch control facility. So this is 20 missiles in 1967 were shut down with UFOs.
Welcome back to the Most News in the Morning. For as long as humankind has been on this earth, we've looked to the skies and asked that question, are we alone in this universe? All next week, we're going to try to answer that question. Our space correspondent, Miles O'Brien, is here with a preview.
Well, Kieran, I'd love to promise you an answer to that question. That would be a scoop, but we might say we landed a little south of smoking gun proof that we are not alone. We did, however, meet some amazing, interesting people who are convinced the truth is out there. Here is a sneak peek. We met Milton Torres in Miami, who 50 years ago spotted a huge, fast-moving object in the crosshairs of his fighter jet. No doubt, in his mind,
it was some design of an aircraft by some space alien.
We talked to the sixth man to walk on the moon, Edgar Mitchell. He is sure aliens have visited us, and the government knows.
The root of the reason is still a secret is power and control.
It is, I mean, believe me, I think about it a lot. It's very, very interesting. I'd like to just see, you know, a V-shaped Martian head, though, and then proof.
That would settle it, wouldn't it?
Yes, exactly. A small little tiny worm and some rock, I don't know.
And if I get that, you'll be the first to hear. Right here on America Morning.
Absolutely.
Breaking news.
Well, it is. All next week, Miles is going to be here, and we're going to be talking about all of these interesting sightings and different, you know, theories about whether or not we are not alone.
Yeah, it's a fascinating look at some interesting people who have a lot of conviction about this. We'll leave it at that.
Jimmy Carter swears he saw a UFO.
Yes, in an interview with you, he talked about it. He doesn't believe it was alien. You know, it's hard to imagine, given the expanse of the universe, travel at that distance. But, you know, we have little pea brains by comparison, right? We've been studying physics for 500 years. Do we know everything?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Not even scratching the surface.
Yeah, exactly.
Miles, we are riveted. I can't wait to see you next week.
It's going to be a fun week.
Thanks, Miles. Also, we want to know if you've seen something funny in the sky, if you're convinced that aliens exist, or you think it's all just science fiction. We do want to hear from you. Send your pictures and video, please, video if you've got it, to CNN.com/AM. Just click on the iReport link.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Trisha Keene.
And I'm Steve Wolford. Well, let's take another trip back into the realm of paranormal tonight. Last night we had ghost hunters, now UFOs.
That's right, and there is a Las Vegas guy making an extraordinary claim about extraterrestrials. So we sent Action News reporter Mike Delastrito to check it out. Mike?
All right, guys, just listen up here. This guy says the Old Testament, written in Hebrew, taught him how to summon UFOs. All right, he says he can also do this on command, and he adds he's been doing it for 25 years, keeping all of it secret until now.
These beings are here. They are here. They're just sitting right up there.
We met up with Prophet Yahweh, seer of Yahweh, at Doolittle Park off Lake Mead. We picked the day, we picked the time, and we picked the location.
everyone's going to think you're absolutely nuts.
Well, I thought I was absolutely nuts.
Until he says he saw UFOs. Over the years, 1,500 of them.
Can we make it 1,501 today? What do you think?
I'll try it.
He says the voice in his head told him to go public now, so we took him up on his offer, and we scanned the skies. Nothing but a few clouds. When the prophet started praying for a sighting, I wasn't exactly convinced.
I pray, oh Yahweh, that you send a sighting so that they know that I am not mentally ill. I am not a false prophet, like those who seek to kill me say I am.
I see something straight up.
Oh, brother, look at it. There it is.
You can barely see it, a white speck. Then another sighting.
There it is. I got it.
Photojournalist Jonathan Hawkins locks in on it. Let's take a closer look here. It's an orange sphere that appeared out of nowhere. I call the boss with an unexpected change in my story.
I can see it clear as day. In fact, it's bright.
I can't see this.
It's moving pretty fast.
It's going to Nellis Air Force Base. It wants to be seen.
We called Nellis to see what these things might be. Guess what? They didn't call us back. But this thing started coming back toward us.
It's coming toward us now, I think.
What?
See, it's coming up toward us.
Whoa, man! Oh, hallelujah!
Then, a few seconds later, it disappeared.
It's going back up in space.
Prophet Yahweh isn't concerned. He says it'll be back.
And I'm still not quite sure what those things were. Now, if I didn't see this for myself, I probably would have just laughed this whole thing off. Prophet Yahweh says, though, this is just the beginning. He says we're going to see a lot more of these things starting next week. And he says one will come down low enough for all of Las Vegas to see. Mike Delastrito, Channel 13 Action News.
Interesting. You know what? If anybody knows what that was, please call Mike Delastrito and identify that object.
So, Jerry, do you mind if we play the X-Files theme song while you do what?
Yeah, really.
And flying downrange, we got all three stages of powered flight. And as the dummy warhead and the package flew on down range, we were all celebrating the fact that we had seen the thing and accomplished the mission. When I got back to the base with the film the next day, I was called into the office of Major Florence J. Mansman, and there were three people in gray suits standing in there. There was a 16-millimeter camera and a screen set up. Major Mansman said, "Lieutenant, sit down and watch this." And he turned down the lights, turned on the camera, on the projector, and the film came on. And I recognized it as the film that we'd shot at Big Sur the previous day. Toward the end of the flight, I was looking at Major Mansman saying, "Pretty good stuff, huh, sir?" And suddenly he said, "Just watch this." And as I watched, the warhead, the dummy warhead, the chaff that was put out in front of it as the decoy to deflect the Russian anti-missile tracking radar, everything was flying along, and suddenly, in the same direction this stuff was flying at about 8,000 miles an hour, an object came into the frame, shot a beam of light at the warhead, flew up to the top, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew around the direction it was flying, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew down, shot another beam of light at the warhead, and flew out the same way it came in.
Well, I don't see. Why didn't you see this when you were shooting it?
Well, it was 600 to 800 miles away from us.
Oh, I got you. And they confiscated.
Well, first of all, Major Mansman said to me, "What was that? Were you guys screwing around up there?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Then tell me what that was." And I said, "We got a UFO." And he said, "Lieutenant, you are never to speak of this again. As far as you're concerned, this didn't happen."
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I got to take a break. Okay, that's weird. You think there's a national defense plan for aliens? Sounds crazy. We'll ask about that next.
Oh my gosh, might be a UFO or what?
Going to get you.
What the hell is that? Oh my god,
You know what though, there's been loads of sightings recently in Manchester though, hasn't there?
Where's it
That
gone?
is
mad, that. Where's it gone?
It looks like a plane on fire, doesn't it?
Mom, come here, quickly. Wait, hurry up! No, it's not. Mom! You've got to see this. Where? What the hell is that? Quickly, come here. Can you see it there? That's a minute ago. It's bright orange. It's not a plane.
It's going dead slow as well, that, isn't it?
It's going big smaller.
17号深夜，一个忽大忽小的不明发光物体出现在了常州武进洛阳镇的一个厂区里，正好被电视监控拍了下来。
凌晨3点22分14秒时，一个直径1米多的光球从空中落到了洛阳镇欧凯电器有限公司厂门里侧。落到地面后，这个光球就不停地抖动。约45秒钟后，抖动加剧，并开始变形，长出圆形的四肢后，迅速向厂区移动。约20秒后，体积又变得只有一个乒乓球般大小。
然后把线圈到那边弹芯的那里嘛，然后从那里过，然后就一下看到它从那个天上掉下来，一个亮的，然后圆的。
当时看到之后，你第一反应是什么？
第一反应就是吓到了。
到外面一看，外面那个天空全部都那个变红的了，就像黄昏的时候那一样。我以为天亮了，但是那个时候才3点22分这样子吧。
据武进区洛阳镇岑村老人讲，曾经在该厂区周围看到过3、4次类似的不明发光现象。这个发光物体到底是什么，还需要专家做进一步的。
There's 3 lights now. My God, there's going to be a crop circle there tomorrow morning. Oh, wow. Oh, there's another one. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Come here. Oh, 4. Come here. Oh my God. Here's another one.
Right behind me is Britain's largest radio telescope, the Chilbolton Observatory. And here it was that the greatest sensation in the crop circle history was to appear in the fields right in front of the telescope.
On the morning of 14th of August 2001, a formation was discovered which was different from any other previously seen. From the ground it looked like a tangled mess, wisps of crops spread around in no system. However, in the evening with growing shadows, a picture appeared, unmistakably that of a face. That picture represented a whole new technique, a screen technique, the same that's used for printing a picture on paper. 3 days later, the face was joined by something that looked like a data strip. Rows of counters made out of standing and flattened crop. But soon an astonishing similarity is discovered. In 1974, the astronomer Carl Sagan composed a message that NASA sent into space from the Arecibo telescope in Puerto Rico. Binary figures which constituted a graphic code presenting key factors about humans and the planet we live on. 27 years later, an identical pattern appears in a crop field right in front of a similar radio telescope. However, on closer inspection, it seemed to show that the code contained some fundamental differences. Sagan's message explained our calculation system, the dominant chemical substances within the elements that create life on Earth, about our DNA code, humans' height and quantity, and that we live on the third planet in our solar system, and lastly, a sketch of our radio telescope. The message received described the same calculation system, but that silicon is most dominant in life forms in contrast to carbon. The drawing also clearly shows a humanoid figure with large head in relation to its body. It's also explained that they have an extra string in their DNA, are approximately 4 feet tall, inhabit the third, fourth and fifth planets in their solar system, and have a population of around 21.3 billion. Underneath, the telescope has been replaced by something more complex. 1 year earlier, a strange crop circle had appeared in the same place. Is this the same illustration as in the sender's code? Is this the correspondent's radio telescope? If this is not an extremely clever and well-calculated joke conducted by humans, is it a serious response from an alien civilization?
The Chilbolton crop formations really gave new life to the speculations of who is behind this. Is it aliens? Where do they come from? And what is their purpose of this type of communication?
The following year, very nearly on the same day, a new picture appears that gives new force to the alien theory, this time in Crabwood, near the town of Winchester in Hampshire. Once again we see a face, but this time there is an unmistakable resemblance to something extraterrestrial. The picture also contains a print, somewhat similar to that of a CD, with something that appears to be a coded message. This formation also has a new type of design, this time with horizontal line patterns of variable thickness, similar to that of a TV picture. The message on the disc is similar to a spiral band built up of many boxes. But data expert Paul Weige manages to decipher the message.
And I had to enlarge the disc quite substantially on the computer and run some image analysis over it to make it clear so that I could see what was a standing tuft and what was flattened. And while I was doing this, I noticed that every so often there was almost a mistake in the diagram. It was like there was a tuft, where the little square tuft, it had done sort of half size. I thought that's a bit odd, and it seemed fairly regular. I was going round, and I sort of counted up, and it was sort of literally every sort of 8 bytes or whatever. And I thought, oh, 8 bytes, and yeah, from computer side, is obviously some sort of binary code. So then I did the straightforward thing. I just converted it into ASCII, which is the standard sort of computer language that you encode the alphabet in. And of course I then started to get words forming out, and I thought, I'm getting somewhere here. So I then did the whole thing for the whole lot, and got this message.
The message is in English and reads as follows. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Many have been surprised by this message. Are there aliens with such faces that we should be aware of? Or is this a picture of the sender? Does this indicate the start of actual close contact with neighbors in the universe?
No matter how hard it might be to grasp that lights actually make these patterns in the crop, there are indeed indications that point in this direction. Several eyewitnesses claim to have seen lights actually making crop circles. One of them is Dutchman Robert van den Broeke. Robert has seen many balls of light on numerous occasions. One time, the lights even left traces of St. John and soot on the window frames of his house. Then, on June the 7th, 1999, Robert witnesses a small pinkish-purple light above a wheat field behind his house. He watches as the light turns into a large disc-shaped object, which appears to transmit some sort of energy release onto the crop. When Robert arrives at the spot only seconds later, the light has vanished, but right there is a brand new crop circle. He later stated that the downed crop was very hot. The whole circle seemed to be buzzing with the energy's heat. 3 years earlier, August the 11th, 1996. John Whaley comes rushing in the barge inn, the central meeting point of crop circle researchers at Alton Barnes. He has an unbelievable story to tell. He had spent the night doing a night watch on top of Oliver's Castle. It was a cold and wet night, and nothing happened. He fell asleep, but was awakened by a strange sound in the early morning hours. As he got up, he saw bright balls of light rushing over a wheat field below. He grabbed his video camera and pressed record. When we take a closer look at this remarkable footage, we see several interesting similarities between these lights and those filmed on different occasions in later years. For instance, once again we see the acceleration feature. The splitting of a light into two separate lights also was captured by John Smith. And how about this feature? No matter how far the lights travel from the camera's lens, they do not become smaller to our perception. Despite all these anomalous similarities, many people still believe the Oliver's Castle footage to be a hoax. The footage is simply too good to be true. But then, in the year 2000, scientist Dr. Eltjo Hazeloff from the Netherlands delivered what appears to be a convincing and ultimate proof.
If you perform trivial experimental physics to the plans in these crop circles, you can in fact deliver scientific evidence that these balls of light might very well have caused the crop circle. Inside crop circles, it was discovered 5 or 6 years ago that the nodes, which are the knuckles in the stems, are actually much longer, quite often. And it is suggested that this increase in length is a result of heat. The nodes get warm, they expand, it's a thermal expansion, and they remain long afterwards. So you can measure the increased node length.
And that's exactly what he did. He sampled several crop circles and very meticulously measured hundreds of nodes. The outcome was crystal clear. The nodes had expanded the most in the centers of the circles. The closer to the perimeter of the circles, the less the nodes had expanded. Dr. Haseloff then compared this distribution model of node lengthening with several other mathematical models and discovered a 100% match with one of them. The mathematical model of electromagnetic radiation distribution of a point source.
If you take the electromagnetic model for a point source, which is a ball of light, it's a small source of electromagnetic radiation, and you look at the intensity distribution of this radiation on the floor level, then it's something you can calculate. It's easy, it's straightforward physics. You can compare this with the light intensity distribution from a light bulb hanging on the ceiling. Right below the light bulb there's a bright light, and towards the edges it gradually falls off towards darkness. And this can be determined quantitatively. If you know the height of the lamp, you know exactly what the light distribution is. And it turns out that the node lengthening, as measured in the field, corresponds perfectly to the distribution of a small electromagnetic source hanging above the field. And when I say perfectly, I mean perfectly. This is not rocket science, this is trivial experimental physics. And the statistical relevance is 100%. So when somebody says this crop circle was made by a ball of light, which is a very strange story, the physical evidence corroborates this perfectly. It perfectly supports these eyewitness accounts.
Dr. Haseloff's paper was peer-reviewed, accepted and published in October 2000 by the internationally recognized scientific journal Physiologia Plantarum, the consequences of which were overwhelming. For until scientifically proven otherwise, it is now a scientifically accepted fact that at least some crop circles were generated by balls of light. Researchers and scientists were left baffled.
Капец, слушай, выйди из машины. Приблизь, Миш, Миша, приблизь. Ну чё это плохого?
What you are about to see is a video from 1983 that happened to catch an unforgettable, shocking event. Let's take another look. Horrifying footage of the exact moment a cow being sucked into a UFO. More horrifying, the next morning, that cow was discovered back in its pasture, lifeless and bloodless.
First reaction was she's been mutilated.
A gruesome discovery for rancher Mike Duran.
Saw something unusual.
His cow found dead along the Purgatory River. Her udders and reproductive organs missing.
No tracks at all. No blood, no predators.
Duran last saw the cow alive on Friday. 2 days later, he says he found her like this. And listen to what he thinks happened.
We have other life out there, and I think that's what it is.
He thinks aliens abducted the cow, carved it up, and dropped it back by the river. He doesn't have proof, but claims to have seen some strange sights in these Colorado skies.
Like a round circle in the air, and I've watched them, and then they've just disappeared.
And this unusual story has another twist. Duran has about 40 cattle here on this ranch west of Trinidad. And believe it or not, he says this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Another cow was mutilated on this same field, he says, in 1995.
It's just a shock that it's happened again.
Duran reported both cattle mutilations to the sheriff's office, but so far they haven't been able to solve either case.
It's one of those unsolved mysteries, I guess.
Okay, here's the feet. It's very odd because there's no blood, and here's the tail.
The cow.
And here are the entrails, and it's quite a large pile. The stomach. There's no blood. Intestines. Very odd. I think it's a cattle mutilation. We're high in the mountains in northern New Mexico. No roads around here. It's hard to believe somebody dumped this off here. Very odd. Here's the windpipe. Cleanly, surgically removed. No blood. Just to give you some idea of the terrain, it's very wild around here. Miles from the closest road. I think what we have here is an unexplained cattle mutilation.
We recently received an anonymous letter in the mail. We received many letters like this, but this one provided enough information to warrant further study. It told the story of a worker who appeared to have been abducted by aliens. The letter was accompanied by a tape which allegedly shows the abduction. Here is the tape. There are 4 black and white pictures. In the top right quadrant, a worker walks right to left through a gate. He disappears here in a flash of light at 11:16 p.m. The tape continued to run normally until almost 2 hours later. Then the victim reappears in a second flash of light, now in a fetal position. Then moments later, now crouching, he vomits, and seconds later, staggers right to left, out of frame. According to the author of the letter, the footage was copied from a surveillance system. He reports that soon after the incident, the victim abruptly quit his job and moved away.
What I'm about to show you, as far as I know, has never been seen by anybody in the civilian world. This is imagery of a gray alien that is clustered in the consciousness of a 28-year-old convict who was serving multiple life sentences for murder. He volunteered for our studies, and we used a technique that was initially devised by Tesla, which allows us to capture thought patterns. And it is within the thought patterns that the original manifestation of the gray aliens. What you're seeing is psychospiritual energy, and you can see the movement manifestation of a gray alien that is formed a parasitic relationship with the subject. Of course, the reason that the government is subverting the truth of alien life is because alien life is actually taken up habitation within most human consciousness, and from there projects the fear reality that many people consider to be everyday. Without this fear reality, government as we know it ceases to exist.
I gotta eat on it, and I'll be back in the
¿Qué carajo pasa aquí? ¡Venga, coñola! ¿Pero qué carajo está pasando aquí? ¡Ya! ¡Vamos ya, hostia! ¡Cago en Dios! No sé, hombre, deixa un poquito que esté
crew cut. I get bread like cold cuts. You know what? The girl go down fast, come up slow, but I never slow up. Where's that? Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it? And if you feel like you're the best, go ahead and do the easy way. Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it? They don't make them like me no more. Matter of fact, they never made it like me before. I'm rare, like Mr. Clean with hair. No brake lights on my car, rare. I never had lights and I never had fear. I rap like I done died and gone to heaven, I swear. And yeah, I'm a bear, like black and white hair, so I'm polar. And they can't get on my system, cause my system is the solar. I am so far from the old arts, I'm in others. I just eat them for supper, get in my spaceship and hover. Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it? And if you feel like you're the best, go ahead and do the easy way. Phone home. Where's it? Phone home. Where's it?
On more than 3 different occasions, in broad daylight, people have filmed flying serpents in the skies above Mexico. The same phenomena has also been filmed in Scotland, and also from aboard the space shuttle by veteran astronaut Story Musgrave. These flying serpents have often been seen surrounded by spherical UFOs, which are often metallic in appearance. Mexican UFO investigators call these spherical luminosities las perlas, or the pearls. These pearls of the sky are mentioned in ancient Tibetan scriptures. More than one leading Tibetan author suspects that these spherical UFOs are actually alien probes monitoring the evolution of mankind. These small spherical UFOs, which are the most common type of UFO filmed in the skies worldwide, are described in the ancient Buddhist text known as the Cantua. The Cantua describes the exact same spherical UFO phenomena, which has been filmed in the skies above London, in Scotland, the south of France, and also many times in Mexico.
extraterrestre en la zona. Pese a que no es claro se puede escuchar claramente a un ser que podría no pertenecer a la Tierra. Dicen que podrían estos extraños podrán escapar a las consecuencias de su encuentro con lo desconocido. Mientras no se puedan demostrar ninguno de estos hechos, este caso seguirá siendo otro misterio inexplicable.
Corre, corre. Mames, sucio esa madre, ¿no? Cabrón, algo me tocó allá, güey. Me tocó allá, te lo juro. No mames, ¿dónde? Te juro que allá, atrás del poste algo me tocó, cabrón. ¿Dónde está? Ya, pero no dejes de grabar, güey. No dejes de grabar, cabrón. Velo, güey. No mames, olha, velo, güey.
Fala, filho da puta. Calma aí, maluco. Porra, vai machucar o bicho, cara. Aí, não falei que ele ia falar, ô?
La última batería que me queda. Tío, tío, es que esto va a flipar, ¿eh?
Tócale como la cámara, tío, que es de aquí no hay.
Mira, 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 mira. Es que, tío, yo qué sé, tío, se llaman plumas, tío. ¿No es o no? Home, tio, ja veus si és en dins l'ull. Des de fa rato que és en dins l'ull. Que sí, collons, que sí. Hòstia. Escolta. Ho sents o no? Puta, tio. Ei, va, corre, corre, hòstia, va.
So lowloader's on the way, mate. I'm just going to get some video evidence. I've never really seen anything like this.
I just got here now. I just stayed at my friend's place. Just got here now and this is suddenly this.
Not again. Oh, this ain't supposed to happen to me.
Keep rocking and keep knocking. Whether you Louboutin it up or Reebokin, you see the hate that they serving on a platter. So what we gon' have, dessert or disaster?
I never thought I'd be in love like this. When I look at you, my mind goes on a trip. Then you came in and knocked me
to NASA. You was always the cheerleader of my dreams. It seemed to only date the head of football teams, and I was the class clown that always kept you laughing. We were never meant to be, baby, we just happened. So please, don't mess up the trick. Hey, young world, I'm the new slick Rick. They say I move too quick, but we can't let this moment pass us. Let the hourglass pass right into ashes. Let the wind blow the ash right before my glasses. So I wrote this love letter right before my classes. How could a goddess ask someone that's only average for advice? OMG, you listen to that, bitch? Woe is me, baby, this is tragic. Cause we had it, we was magic. I was flying, now I'm crashing. This is bad, real bad, Michael Jackson. Now I'm mad, real mad, Joe Jackson. You should leave your boyfriend now. I'ma ask him.
The good with the bad, happy and the sad. But will you bring a better future than I had in the past? Oh, cause I don't wanna make the same mistakes I did. I don't wanna fall back on my face again. I'll admit it, I was scared to answer love's call. And if it hits, better make it worth the fall. Sometimes it comes around. Comes around. Just give it good when it knocks you down. Sometimes when love comes around, and it knocks you down. Just give it when it knocks you down. When it knocks you down, knocks you down. Won't see it coming when it happens. But when it happens, gonna feel it. Let me tell you now. Say when love comes and knocks you down.
Oh, when it knocks you down.
Won't see it coming when it happens. But when it happens, gonna feel it. Let me tell you now. Say when love comes and knocks you down. Yeah.
Los habitantes de una ciudad están atemorizados ante lo que parece ser el ataque de unos extraños seres que muchos aseguran son parecidos a brujas. Desde México, Alejandro Mendoza tiene los impactantes testimonios.
Por ejemplo, ¿por qué no siguió derecho?
Tras revisar una y otra vez el video, Jerónimo junto a los integrantes del OVNI Club Nuevo León comenzaron a notar que aquella mancha flotante lucía como una persona encorvada que vestía una túnica con capucha puntiaguda. Incluso hubo quien aseguró que parecía volar sobre una escoba. Así llegaron a una primera conclusión: tal vez aquello era una bruja.
Míralo, míralo, ahí está.
Pero esa presunta aparición era solo un caso más, hasta que el testimonio de este policía cambió el panorama.
Veo una persona vestida de negro, así con plumas, dos garras negras, así negras. Me asusto y me doy cuenta que donde la veo así, pero ella iba agachada. Entonces me hago para atrás, me meto otra vez al cuarto donde estaba y de este lado, al cerrar la puerta, venía otro.
Según él, una noche cuando vigilaba este lote de autos, recibió la visita de dos seres que volaban sobre el Panteón de Santa Catarina, ubicado a espaldas del cerro donde fue grabada la enigmática figura. 2 años antes, Leonardo Samaniego relató un encuentro similar. Curiosamente, él también era un policía.
Estaba vestida de negro y traía unos ojos grandes y tez morena. Pero ya no la alcancé a ver más. Estaba vestida de negro, traía un gorro con una punta hacia atrás. Pero no tenía nada de escoba, nada. Pero iba volando sola.
El oficial Samaniego, quien trabaja en un municipio distinto al de su colega, contó mientras era auxiliado por paramédicos que una bruja lo había atacado, dejándolo inconsciente. Los noticieros locales comenzaron a dar cuenta de otros inquietantes sucesos.
La supuesta bruja de poco más de 1,5 metros de altura.
Surgió entonces la duda de si aquellos casos tenían relación con la imagen grabada recientemente por Jerónimo y sus compañeros del OVNI Club.
Hasta ahora nadie ha podido determinar la naturaleza de ese extraño objeto o ser que fue captado justo en la cúspide de esta montaña, aunque sus características coinciden en ciertos casos con las que dieron los 2 oficiales de policía que aseguran haber tenido frente a sus propias narices a una bruja, misma que de acuerdo a algunos investigadores del fenómeno OVNI sigue rondando los cielos de esta ciudad.
Aunque tras analizar mejor los movimientos de la curiosa imagen, llegaron a una nueva y sofisticada teoría.
Se me está dando el edificio. No mames, güey. No mames, güey. Es una bruja, güey.
No, sin paja, que
Es una bruja, güey. ¿La estás grabando, güey?
No, puta, qué feo.
No mames, güey.
Que sí,
No mames, güey.
No, hombre.
¿Estás grabando? ¿Dónde está, güey?
Acércate más a esa mierda, güey.
¿Dónde está, güey? ¿Dónde está, güey? No mames.
Oye, güey, ¿qué son esas mamadas que están allá arriba en el edificio, güey? Ah, no mames, es bien raro, güey. No, está bien raro. ¿Quieres suicidar o qué? ¿Sabe qué? ¿Qué se toda madre? Lo mandamos a Canal 4, una serie. No mames, son como extraterrestres, qué pedo. Son extraterrestres, güey. ¿Es qué? Como un extraterrestre. Sí, cabrón. A ver. Dele. Ah, no mames, dele, güey. O sea, se ve un vato, pero se ve bien raro, güey.
Yes. Oh, I see it. It's right here. Well, what we have is a metallic object. I can see clearly in my handycam, and certainly it's strange. Doesn't seem to be a balloon. Oh. Yeah, it's strange.
Here, I got the monitor too. Can we see that one?
Now I'm using 100x.
Here, come here. You want to see it?
Power.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I am using 100x power here. In my opinion, this doesn't seem to be a balloon. It's another thing. I don't know what is this. Bueno, Jaime, pues aquí vemos que durante la grabación para el Discovery Channel, pues tenemos este objeto muy extraño que no me da la idea de que pueda ser un globo, quizás una entidad de estas globular, y bueno, creo que ya lo registré un poco. Yes, I got it. Yes, in this moment I am making a recording of this object. So I don't think that this is a balloon, Jaime. This is the object.
T-minus 16 seconds. Sound suppression water system has been activated, protecting Discovery and the launch pad from acoustical energy. We have a go for main engine start. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery, hoisting harmony to the heavens and opening new gateways for international science. Discovery has cleared the tower.
Houston now controlling. Roll program.
Roger, roll, Discovery.
Discovery's roll maneuver is complete. Is now in a heads-down position on track for its flight to the International Space Station. Discovery 7 miles downrange at an altitude of 2 statute miles. Flying at 600 miles per hour. Discovery's engines are throttling down as the orbiter passes through the area of maximum pressure on the vehicle. Now 50 seconds into the flight. Discovery 8 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center at an altitude of 6 statute miles, flying at 900 miles per hour.
Lots clear. 7, go ahead.
I'm talking at 10 o'clock high.
This is Houston. Say again, 7.
We have a bogey at 10 o'clock high.
An object which is at the same place all the time and appears to be tumbling. Well, we've had it ever since yesterday. It just seems to be tagging along with us.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
You know, before this is over, I'm gonna need a whole lot of serious therapy.
What about sunrise? What about rain? What about all the things that you said we were to gain? What about killing fears? Is there a time? What about all the things that you said was yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the blood we've shed before? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, this weeping shore? What have we done to the world? Look what we've done. What about all the peace that you pledged your only son? What about flowering fields? Is there a time? What about all the dreams that you said was yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the children dead from war? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, this weeping shore?
Discovery's descent rate is 20 times higher and 7 times steeper than a commercial airliner on the final approach. Discovery's landing gear is down and locked in place. Main gear touchdown. Commander Pam Milroy is rotating the nose gear down to the runway and nose gear touchdown. Discovery is rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 6.25 million mile mission. Discovery completing its 34th mission to space and the 23rd shuttle flight to the International Space Station.
Houston, Discovery will stop.
Copy, wheel stop, Discovery. Congratulations on a tremendous mission and a great landing, Pam. And we'll meet you on page 5-3 with no deltas.
Copy all.
Salut à tous, ceci est une introduction à un nouvel espace, une nouvelle era, un nouveau son. Bienvenue, vous entrez à Universal Mind Control.
Hey, yo, all they wanna do is dance. That's all they wanna do.
Get it. Get it. Get it. This is that automatic. I stay fresh like I'm wrapped in plastic. Beat goes plastic, see galactic. Southside boy, we Cadillac-ic. Charismatic, Asiatic. I hustle for mathematics. Cameras, action, change the status. Actor, tapping your favorite actress. Gucci, rockin', Gucci's poppin'. Movie, watching, booties, shopping, body moving, showing, proving, styling, and being fly. I touch the masses like a Catholic. Expensive rap shit, my future's backlit. Interact with the cat who matches stacks. My vernacular tracks, y'all react, so let's go.
This is that new shit. Keep them standing in mind. That universal mind control. Now move your behind. You know you like it. It's calling your name. Nigga, this is that new shit. And it don't feel the same. It's got that dang, 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 bomb, bomb, dang, 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 bomb, bomb, dang, dang, dang.
Some pop, some lock, some move robotic. Like cash money, I stay in pocket. UMC, rock, don't stop it. Chicks exotic, mix hypnotic. Superhero role, boy, I'm bionic. You a fan on some llama, supersonic. Girl, you ride it, you can strip like comic. And trance to melodic, technotronic. Beats, rockin', seats, dropping, seats, popping, streets. Rockin', freaking, shaking, money, making, styling, and being fly. I'm the one the ladies chose to strip and pose to. Take off their clothes to, chose to. The one that go coast to coast to Mr. Global, the focal. Let's go.
This is that new shit. Keep them standing in mind. That universal mind control. Now move your behind. You know you like it. It's calling your name. Nigga, this is that new shit. And it don't feel the same. It's got that dang, 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 bomb, bomb, dang, 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 bomb, bomb, dang, dang, dang.
How can we know this is true? Well, let's watch. Let's see, because I believe this is not going to be the last time we see something like that. In October 2007, the whole nation
Get it.
was observed.
Get it.
This is just very few videos.
I am a renegade. I never been afraid. Fresh and I'm getting paid. The future of this age. From the shop, so I talk this way. Twist the hate at the Grand Marquis. Rock the fly shit like every day to the top, and I'm on my way. Let's go.
This is that new shit. Keep them standing in mind. That universal mind control. Now move your behind. You know you like it. It's calling your name. Nigga, this is that new shit. And it don't feel the same. It's got that dang, 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 bomb, bomb, dang, 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 bomb, bomb, dang, dang, dang.
The Atlantis from coming back. This object was there for something from 8 hours to accidental. What they want to say is probably that the space, it doesn't belong to human beings.
Explorando compute. 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 Explorando compute.